Welcome to the Kentucky Medicaid Partner Portal application training on how to create a Partner Portal account. In this video, we will review how to activate a Partner Portal account, how to choose a multi-factor authentication method, and how to complete remote identity proofing. Users will begin by clicking the link at the top of the screen or entering this URL. Once you are on the Welcome to the Kentucky Medicaid Provider Enrollment Portal screen, read through the provider enrollment notes and notices before selecting Let's Get Started. Users will then be directed to the Kentucky Online Gateway, also known as COG, login screen. Select the blue Create New Account button to then be directed to the COG registration screen. On the COG registration screen, set up a user's account by completing all required fields, which are marked with a red asterisk. Please do not create a COG account under another person's name, as each Partner Portal user is required to have their own account. Once you are finished completing all required fields, please click Sign Up. Please note that users are required to validate their email address. Users will receive a validation email and the associated account must be validated within 4 hours. To validate the account, click the link contained in the email. After clicking on the account validation link, users will be directed back to COG to complete the final step of the account creation process. Once directed back to COG, click the Continue to Sign In button to be directed to the login page. Once users create a COG account, they will need to complete the multi-factor authentication, or MFA, process. MFA is a two-step identification process that helps keep information secure. The MFA options include Okta Verify, the recommended method, and Semantic BIP. A phone number can also be registered as an additional security option. Users are required to set up their preferred authentication method during their first login and will need to authenticate their account for each subsequent login. Please take note of this chart to identify which MFA option would be best for the user. For additional information on how to set up MFA, please refer to the user guide. Once users have completed the MFA process, there is an additional one-time identity verification step that must be completed, known as Remote Identity Proofing, or RIDP. During the RIDP process, users will answer a series of questions that are specific to each user. Do not attempt RIDP for another person. Refer to this chart for tips on how to successfully complete RIDP. Please note that users who are unable to successfully complete RIDP will be prompted to call the Technical Support Center. Have the reference number available when calling. Please note that the reference code is alphanumeric and case sensitive. After RIDP is passed, the user will land on one of two screens. One, the user will land on the page to link previously associated Medicaid IDs to themselves. This will only occur if the email address used to create the account is already associated as a provider or credentialing agent email address and will only be available on the first 2 logins. Or 2, the user will land on another information page with links to the provider enrollment website and the provider's summaries. Once the user passes these screens, they will land on the Partner Portal dashboard. If they were not given the option to select previously associated Medicaid IDs, they will need to contact the Technical Support Center to get linked. To review, please note the following key points. When creating an account and completing the registration information on COG, it is important to note that users should not be creating an account for another person. When creating a Partner Portal account, users are required to validate their email address. Users will receive a validation email, and the associated account must be validated within 4 hours. Once users create a Partner Portal account, they will need to set up their preferred MFA method during their first login and will then authenticate their account on each subsequent login. Once users have completed the MFA process, they must complete RIDP. During the RIDP process, users will answer a series of questions that are specific to each user. Users must not attempt RIDP for another person. Thank you for watching. For additional assistance, please visit our website or contact the Partner Portal Technical Support Center.